Hello, children. With the notion that you all must have listened to the audio for this poem, The Ant and the Cricket, adapted from Aesop's fables, shared with you on Monday, I am here once again to put some light on the new and hard words and even the phrases from the poem. It was observed in the Tuesday's online class where we were face to face that many children, many of you, had many doubts and queries about the words and phrases and their usage in the poem. Okay, so yeah, agreed that they are a little difficult, but then what are we here for? So I request each one of you to take up a pencil and flip the pages of your textbook to page number 21, where we have the poem The Ant and the Cricket. Before giving away the meanings and explaining the poem once again to you all, on understanding that what parts were difficult for you, I would like to read the poem because I even heard many people pronouncing many words in a wrong fashion. So I would like to read the poem for you so that you get all the right pronunciations, the stresses, the pauses, and all the other important things. So here I go. I read the poem for you. Please pay attention to each and every pronunciation of mine so that you read the poem in the same manner. Okay? A fable is a story, often with animals as characters, that conveys a moral. This poem about an ant and a cricket contains an idea of far reaching significance. Far reaching significance means significance in the long term, which is as true of a four legged cricket as of a two legged one. Surely you have seen a cricket that has two legs. See, the poet is using a symbolic language here. He is calling the humans as the two-legged crickets, okay? And yes, some of the two-legged crickets behave like the four-legged cricket in this poem. The four-legged cricket in the poem has been lethargic. He has kept his efforts, he has kept his future on the back seat, and he has wasted time in the present. Okay, so some of the human beings living amongst us are of this nature, are of this behavior. Okay, so I'm reading the poem now. Please look at the text and carefully listen to all the pronunciations. A silly young cricket, accustomed to sing through the warm, sunny months of gay summer and spring, began to complain when he found that at home his cupboard was empty and winter was come. Not a crumb to be found. Now, this word here, crumb, is crumb and not crumb. Okay, the B is silent. You are to pronounce it only till M. Not a crumb to be found on the snow-covered ground. Not a flower could he see, not a leaf on the tree. Oh, what will become, says the cricket, of me? At last, by starvation and famine, made bold, all dripping with wet and all trembling with cold, away he set off to a miserly ant, to see if, to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. He wished only to borrow, he'd repay it tomorrow. He would, and the contraction is he'd, okay? He'd repay it tomorrow. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. Turn the page to 22. Says the ant to the cricket, I'm your servant and friend. But we ants never borrow, we ants never lend. But tell me, dear cricket, did you lay nothing by when the weather was warm? Quoth the cricket, not I. My heart was so light that I sang day and night, for all nature looked gay. You sang, sir, you say? Go then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket, and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. Folks call this a fable. I'll warrant it true. Some crickets have four legs, and some have two. You know the two legged crickets, right? I have already told you who are the two legged crickets. Fine. There are certain words, few words, four words given in the glossary with their meaning. Words apart from them that are difficult for you will be discussed today. Okay? Before we start with the words and phrases, let me tell you a little more about Aesop's fables. Okay, Aesop's fables is a collection of fables or short moral stories written by Aesop. Now, who is Aesop? He was a slave and a storyteller. Here it is. He was a Greek slave and a storyteller or a fabelist. Okay, the one who writes fables is a fabelist. He was believed to have lived in the ancient Greece. He was Greek, means he lived in Greece. We are Indians because we live in India, right? He wrote stories with numerous animals as characters, and all of them illustrated human virtues. Okay, what are virtues? Characteristics, basically, features that humans show. Okay, the kind of behavior, the kind of attitude, other features of human beings are all their virtues. Later he was freed from slavery. Now he was a slave, okay, and his master set him free, let him go, because he understood that this slave of his is intelligent in a certain way. Okay, after the master came to know that this slave of mine has literary intelligence, means he was so good at words and he was so good at putting them down, framing them, and making a nice story out of them. He freed the slave. The master let him go, and that's when Aesop wrote many of his fables and they became world renowned. And that's the reason we are here reading, understanding, and loving Aesop's fables. Okay, coming back to the first line of the poem, now take a pencil, underline the words that I tell you, and write down the meanings of those words next to them. First line, accustomed to sing. A silly young cricket. Cricket here is an insect and not a game. Okay, bat and ball, no, it's a insect. It's an insect. Accustomed to sing means in a habit of singing. He was in a habit of singing through the warm, sunny months of gay summer and spring. Gay means happy, happy summer months, happy spring months. Okay, he was accustomed to sing during these beautiful, beautiful seasons. Began to complain when he found that at home his cupboard was empty and winter was come. Now, when the season changed, it got cold all of a sudden. He happened to check his cupboard, and when he checked his cupboard, he found that there was nothing to eat in the cupboard. Okay, now you must have heard about animals who gather food for winters. There are many animals who eat before the winters come and they go in hibernation, right? Which is one of those animals? Yes, it's the bear. Okay, Baloo. It's the bear who eats a lot of food and then goes into hibernation during the winters, even before the winters, right? And then when the winters are gone, he comes back afresh, right? So this cricket, when he opens his cupboard and sees that the cupboard is empty, he starts complaining. He says, not a crumb to be found on the snow-covered ground. Now there is snow outside. The whole ground is covered with snow. It is blanketed with snow. And where will I find a crumb of food? Oh my God, there won't be a piece of food lying anywhere because there is snow on the ground everywhere. There is not even a flower that I can see, nor a leaf on the tree. Everything has turned frosty ice. Everything has gone white from green. Okay? And then he says, oh, now what will happen of me? What will become of me? Like, ab mera kya hoga? Okay, it's that tone. Oh, what will become of me? At last, by starvation and famine. See the words? Starvation. Can you see the picture here? Yes, these kids are starving. They are famished. They are having deficiency of good, healthy food that fortunately you are not facing. Thank God for this. Thank God for your family. Thank God for all the things that you are privileged with. Okay? Look at these kids and look at yourself. God has kept you safe. God has kept you in a nice place. God has given you a nice family. So thank God for this every morning you wake up. Okay? Let's not deviate. Starvation is death or suffering due to hunger. Can't stop looking at this picture, I know, but then starvation means death or suffering due to hunger, and famine means the scarcity of food. Lot of African countries, the Sudan is the poorest country in the world. Okay, they don't have food. The children are dying, the senior citizens, the elderly people are dying because they don't have power in the body to fight the diseases that are upcoming. Okay, so these things made the cricket bold. Now it is believed that hunger can make you do literally anything. There are two choices that a human being always has, either to choose a positive way or a negative way. When starvation and famine and troubles and calamities strike you in this life called thing, you can either be positive or you can be negative. The people who take the negative side, you know what they do when they face hungers and problems? They take up the negative side and they do the bad activities or the criminal activities, offenses. Okay, they become criminals. But the ones who are positive, who choose the positive way, they do, what do? They work on their skills. They make themselves more potent, and then they try to overcome their problems. They try to overcome the hard times. Okay, so this cricket here is a positive one. Okay, when starvation and famine make him bold, he goes to the ant. See, all dripping with wet and all trembling with cold. He is all wet because of the weather. He's trembling because it's so cold and frosty outside. He set off to a miserly ant. He goes to the miserly ant. Set off means depart. Okay, he goes to. Miserly means greedy or mean. And later in the poem, you will find out why was the ant mean to the cricket. Okay, I have a very good reference for this word as well, miserly. Why is the ant called miserly? Why is she said to be mean? Now she has a very good reason for being mean. Okay, and I will give that reason to you later in the poem. Now what has happened is the cricket, after knowing that there is nothing in his cupboard, there is nothing on the ground outside for eating, he takes up a bold step. Even though he is dripping with wet and trembling with cold, he sets off to the ant's house to see if, to keep him alive, the ant would give him what? Two things: shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. Many of you asked me the meaning of mouthful. The meaning of the word mouthful is a morsel of food, okay? The amount that can fill in the mouth. The amount of grain that will fill your mouth. Fine. Handful means the amount that will fill in your hand. Bagful means the amount which will fill your bag up. So mouthful is the amount which will fill your mouth up. Okay, so the cricket is asking for shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain from the ant. He wished only to borrow. He'd repay it tomorrow. He says, I promise you, I'm here only to borrow. And when the seasons will change, maybe I will repay it to you. Okay? Now, the seasons don't change tomorrow. like so quickly things don't happen, right? But then he says tomorrow here means when the season changes, okay? It goes back to summer from winter. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. If you don't help me, I will die due to starvation and due to this sorrow, this grief, this sadness. Okay, sorrow means grief or sadness. Says the ant to the cricket, I'm your servant and friend. Now, what does this phrase mean here? I'm your servant as well as your friend. Now, don't take this phrase literally. It only means that you and me are same. You and me are similar. You and me are no different. We are the dwellers of this earth, this planet called Earth. We dwell together, we live together, we are companions to each other. And that is the reason the ant says, I'm your servant and friend, means I'm everything to you, I'm everything unto you. But then this condition or term applies. We ant never borrow, we ants never lend. This must be some rule that the ants must be following, okay? We need not negotiate on this. This is a term, this is a condition laid by the ants. See, I'm here to help you, I'm here for you, but then we don't lend anything, neither do we borrow anything from anyone. But tell me, dear cricket, she calls him dear cricket. The ant calls him dear cricket. Means there is some emotion between them, but then she's still not ready to help the cricket. She's empathetic, she's sympathetic, but then she is not ready to help. And there is a reason why she's not helping the cricket. Okay, you have studied very, very hard. You are giving your exams very nicely, and there is a person sitting right behind you who never studies, but then is asking you to show your paper to him. Will you? No, because all your efforts will be going in vain if you study hard and try to score some good marks, and that person sitting behind you did nothing all this while, and now by copying your paper will get good marks, right? I know this sounds bad on the ant's part. She's not helping, but then why would she help? You tell me. Every human being needs to take the part of efforts that he's supposed to take. You cannot rely on somebody else. Okay, you cannot rely on somebody else for food. You cannot rely on somebody else for your bright future. You cannot. This is all in your hand. You have to do this for your own self. And that is the reason the ant is called mean. I don't see any reason, that the ant should help the cricket in this situation, because she had seen the cricket playing his guitar, singing his songs, and wasting his time there, when at the same time the ant was working very, very hard and filling up her stock of food for the winter season. She was working very hard, and she was seeing the cricket enjoying. So why would she now help the cricket, right? So she says, tell me, dear cricket, did you lay nothing by when the weather was warm? When the sun was up in the sky, there was greenery everywhere, it was warm and sunny. Didn't you collect anything? Didn't you store anything? What did you do at that time? See what the cricket says. Quoth the cricket, not I. Oh my God, I did not. I did not do anything. I'm sorry, ant, but I did not collect food. I did not lay anything by. And the reason he gives for this, my heart was so light. He says, my heart was so carefree. I was so, I was so carefree that I didn't feel the need to. I thought food will always be available. Food will always be there. My heart was so light that I sang day and night, for all nature looked gay. You sang, sir, you say? The ant says, sir, you are telling me that you sang because the nature looked gay? Go then, the ant says, go then and dance the winter away like you danced in the summer season. Like you enjoyed in the summer season, go and enjoy now. Go and sing your beautiful songs now. Go and play your musical guitar now, or whatever instrument you played that time. I hope you are getting the meaning. I hope you are understanding what the ant has done and what the cricket has done in this fable. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket. Now tell me, children, when do you lift the wicket? When you know that it's the end game. Okay? The game is over. There is no point in convincing the ant to help me. She's not ready to. And I have got this in clear words when she said, "We don't lend, we don't borrow." The cricket, in a hurried manner, lifted all his belongings, and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. There is no point in calling the cricket poor, because he has called for this. He himself invited this problem in his life. Don't you think that, children? Don't you? Yes. Should he work hard when the summer was on, he wouldn't have faced this problem in winter. The last two lines of the poem, very, very important. Folks call this fable. My friends, people, human beings call this poem or story a fable. And I stand as a warranty of it being true. I warrant this fable to be true, the truth of life. Some crickets have four legs, like the insect here, or the animals, and some have two. The human beings, some human beings that behave like this cricket from this poem, who do not use the time in a right manner, who do not make the right use of the time that they have in their hand, and later in life regret and shed tears and ask for sympathy from others and ask for help from others. Children, asking for help is not a bad idea. Even helping others is not a bad idea, but then we have to be responsible. We have to grow up and know our responsibilities. Our life is on us. Our life is on us, and we cannot rely on somebody else for the good or bad of our life. Okay, so there are few things that you should do and you shouldn't do that I have gathered and placed them in on this slide for you all. There are two things that you should do. Use the time you have efficiently and effectively. Okay, the time in your hand, your exams will come someday, your exams will be held someday, and for that day you are to use this time that you have more efficiently and effectively. Pre-plan for a happy and better future. Your future is not going to be bright on its own. Siska LED bulb nahi. You are the one who is responsible to make it a happy wala future, bright wala future, good wala future. Okay, and the things that you're not supposed to do are be dependent on someone. Now that you're minors, your students, your children, your kids, you're loved, you're in a family, you are dependent on your parents, but then they are giving their love to you for you to become independent, for you to stand strong on your own feet, earn good, and help people around with what you earn. Okay, so they are there because they are teaching you to be independent, and you are not to rely on them for your whole life. I hope you get this. And the next thing that you're not supposed to do is waste the precious time you have. Okay, this time that is very, very precious for you, do not waste it. Read as much as you can. Research as much as you can. Talk as much as you can. Ask questions as much as you can, so that you know what is going around, what is happening, what has happened, what will happen, what might happen. Okay, like a curious child. Research, ask, talk. Do not keep things in your heart, and work hard. Okay, so that's all from this poem. Instructions for notebook writing questions will be shared soon. That's all for now. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.